Hi, this is Connie Giordano with Walking in Truth Ministry. Join me now as I deliver this stirring message from God's holy word. Allow me to ask you, what is Christianity? As a Christian, how would you define it? The Pulpit Commentary defines it in this way: Christianity is following Christ. It is not merely receiving blessings from Him. If we think we are to enjoy the fruits of His work while we remain just as we were, we are profoundly mistaken. Christianity is following Christ. Despite what some would suppose, it is not merely receiving certain blessings from the Lord. The Bible confirms this fact. In Matthew 4:19, we see that Jesus' first call to Peter and Andrew was, "Follow me." To Matthew, the tax collector, Jesus called, "Follow me." When Jesus found Philip, the first thing he said to him was, "Follow me." To all his disciples, that includes you and me, his initial words were and are, "If any man will come after me, let him deny himself and take up his cross and follow me." As a Christian, do you remember Jesus' initial call? Are you continuing to follow him? To what extent? Or like so many, have you left off the following part only to become more concerned with receiving the blessings? Travelers follow their guides, soldiers follow their commanders, and sheep follow the shepherd. Are you one of Jesus' sheep? In John 10:27, he said, "My sheep hear my voice, and I know them, and they follow me." If you are truly one of Jesus' sheep, you will indeed be following him. What exactly does it mean to follow Christ? First and foremost, following Christ entails obeying him, yielding and submitting to his guidance by willing obedience to his commands. Following Christ entails imitating him, copying his example and cheerfully conforming to his spirit and pattern in your conduct. And lastly, following Christ entails trusting him, allowing him to be your master, teacher, example, and friend. Jesus is the Son of God who gave his life a ransom for you. He has the right to say to you, "Follow me." The Pulpit Commentary said, "The master first, then the disciples. This is the natural and divine order. The shepherd is to be in front, the sheep behind." Are you following the divine order? Or are you trying to lead while seeking to get your own way? The Pulpit Commentary went on to say, "He, Jesus, writes a copy, and they imitate. He commands, and they obey. He goes before, and they follow. He is the mark, and the disciples press on toward it, and they get nearer every day." The Apostle Paul fully understood what it meant to follow Christ. In Philippians 3:12, he said, "Not as though I had already attained, either were already perfect, but I follow after, if that I may apprehend that for which also I am apprehended of Christ Jesus." Paul heard Jesus' call to follow me at conversion, but he didn't stop there. Once receiving a glimpse of Jesus, he pressed on. He pursued with all vigor. He pushed forward. He kept up the chase. He followed hot-footed with utmost eagerness. He greedily and incessantly pursued the perfect knowledge of Christ. In other words, he followed Jesus with a greater intensity. How about you? After conversion, have you followed Jesus with a greater intensity? Or like so many, have you joined the Laodicean church, which is lukewarm due to an intensity for worldly pursuits? King David also understood what it meant to follow the shepherd. Like the Apostle Paul, he understood that it meant to do so with unwearied constancy and unwavering purpose. In Psalm 63:8, he declared, "My soul followeth hard after thee." As a girdle cleaves to the loins of a man, David cleaved to God with a full purpose of heart. He followed closely at the Lord's heels. He pursued him eagerly, diligently, and resolvedly. He pressed hard after him. Unlike so many today who are cleaving to the world and the things of it, David made God the supreme object of his life. His soul followed hard after God. It was as if David was glued to God. With laborious exertion, he made heaven and not earth, God himself, the object of his pursuit. He followed the shepherd as near, as close as he could, pursuing his footsteps and not leaving any distance between the two. Is this how you are following the shepherd today? In Song of Solomon 1:4, the bride said to the bridegroom, "Draw me, we will run after thee." In a sense, we have the church beckoning Jesus to overpower the world and the flesh that would draw her away from him. She is longing to improve the grace that she received at conversion. Can it be said of you that your soul is following hard after Jesus? Are you running after him? Or like so many today, is there a distance between you and the shepherd, so much so that you can hardly hear his voice anymore? Lastly, in Numbers 14:24, God said of his servant Caleb, "But my servant Caleb, because he had another spirit with him, and hath followed me fully." The name Caleb means all heart. He lived up to his name. He followed his God with his whole heart. Consequently, he and his family enjoyed the promised land. What does the future look like for you, based on the degree to which you are following the shepherd? Never forget, your choices have consequences.